What's up, everybody? It's your favorite totes, my goats, cutie patooties favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the super deformed Voltron from Toynami. Now, this is all known to me, of course, from Robert D, and I gotta tell you, we're looking at a lot of cutesy-wootsy stuff here recently, and it's really messing my mind up. I mean, the other day I saw my daughters playing with these little cats.
Hi, guys! Do you know why
Hey, what are those?
they're little cute cats?
Cats, huh?
And they're fluffy.
Must review them.
Selena's going to grab the cats. Let's go! Come on!
But I digress. So, like I said, this is all known to me from Robert D. It's actually a pretty impressive set. We're going to talk about each line individually. We're going to talk about the accessories. We're going to talk about the formed Voltron. And then we're going to get out of here. I've been drinking a little bit today, so I don't have any time for games. Or maybe I do. Let's get started. Accessory-wise, we get the sword and shield. Both done beautifully. Nice silver paint, nice metallic blue paint. Now, the handle on this shield would make you think that he can hold it well. We'll talk about that here in a second, but there are issues. And it is a big enough, like, you know, like, it doesn't come with all those little weapons that they can hold in their jaws, at least not that was included in the box that was sent to me. Nice sword. I feel like you could have gotten a little bit more out of it. It's a little bit stunted, but I guess that ultimately makes sense. With just a straight silver finish throughout, maybe some detailings in there would have been nice, and maybe on the handle would have been nice. But, so he holds the sword just fine, and that's by basically tabbing in, he might hold it a little too fine, am I right? Tabbing in this peg here into the corresponding port in the jaw. As for the shield, it's not so clean cut. He can hold it with some tension and making sure you got the right angle, but this joint here is just not tight enough to really hold on to it with great, confidence, let's say. Also, they all come with little riders, and we'll talk about them a little bit more here in a second, but I just wanted to show you that they all come with one, and there they all are together. I'm not crazy about the color choices here, but I guess ultimately it's fine. Like, I feel like a red and a pink was a bad idea. We should have probably got a red one and a white one, or a red one and a black one. These guys share molds, right? The red one, the blue one and the yellow one, and then the red one and the green one. So we're gonna be looking at one kind of extensively, and then we'll kind of fly through the other. Now, all of them have this, let me use my little spudger, this gimmick where they have these little riders inside. Now, I think Robert D has mixed them all up, but I think Robert D has mixed them all up on me, but we'll take a look. So, sculpt-wise, they're all kind of very similar, if not the same. They might actually be the same. I think they are. And they're fine. It's a nice little added touch. They didn't have to do it, and they all sit inside the head of the lion. So this is the blue one, and we'll run through it. So we have silver paint. As far as I have learned, and this is from limited research on the internet, this was a Comic-Con exclusive that had the metallic paint on it. And then there's another kind of standard edition that had like white paint maybe on the legs. I don't know. I'm not getting too involved in it, but that's what we got. Ball peg for the head. Limited range, but you get down to there, up to there, side to side, confused lion look. Yellow paint, white paint, silver paint. All the paint details there on the top of the head, and the jaw is articulated on a hinge. No issues. Front leg, swivel for the upper joint, one hinge for the knee, nothing for the ankle, and that goes the same for the rear leg. The tail is on a little hinge, and we got yellow paint there, which is actually done really well considering it's yellow. And then the fore and all that is all tampoed on. That looks great. The silver paint on there looks good as well. It's really, look, it's a little kind of desk thing, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of care put into these. But that's the blue one. Let's run through the yellow one real quick. So the yellow one, articulation-wise, pretty much the same, but we do have different paint. Silver, red, blue, black, white, silver, Tampo 5, red, black, silver for the legs. Articulation-wise, it works the same. And transformation-wise, this whole piece here hinges up. That puts the kind of bottom of the foot level with the ground, and then you just kind of fold up the legs. And there's probably a great way to do this, but what do I know about it? You know what I mean? Just fold them up. Don't get too carried away, Mac, with the leg transformation. But there it is. And I think you'll be fine there. And you do the same for the blue one. And then we'll run through the green and red one real quick. So these are actually really well done. Not to say that the legs aren't, but these are exceptionally well done. So the same hinge. We do have this. This hinge, however, is loose, which is causing the riders to kind of fall out unexpectedly. That being said, yellow paint, green paint, white paint. Actually, that white is a different piece of plastic. It's just put on. So either way, looks really sharp. Hinged mouth. We do have the port inside of the mouth, which is fine. It works better for the sword than it does for the shield, obviously, but it works fine. Tampo paint done up there. That looks good. Front legs, hinge, hinge. It basically swivels, but they'll be hinges for now. Same for the back legs. Now, this swivels here and this swivels here. So the nice thing about it is for Voltron mode, obviously you get full arm articulation, but for cat mode, you know, the more better Voltron attempts are done this way, where you can kind of make the cat, you know, curl around for a pose, or you can swivel both by using the elbow and get like an arching up, or swivel them around the other way and get an arching down or even seated pose. And we'll fly through the red one for good measure. Same articulation exactly throughout. And then we have the Tampo paint for the two, yellow paint, silver paint, yellow eye paint, white ear paint, silver finish on all of the chromey bits. And it's not like a proper chrome, you know, it's a silver, which I'm 100% good with either way. And I want to make sure. I feel like the eyes are slightly different. I'll tell you where I see it, and I might be wrong. This angle, that's a little bit shorter than this one. It's a little bit wider. So there is a slight variation there. That's pretty cool. And then to get into limb mode with the two arms, it's easier. You just collapse the front, collapse the rear, bring out that ball peg, flip down the tail, ready to pop on. And then lastly, we have the big mamma jamma. As far as I can tell, you can't get the face to disconnect from the bottom jaw, so that's kind of a bummer. You do have the ears that can pop out if you like that look. I don't know why, but for me, I always thought that was a Voltron thing, and you keep the ears together for the black line. That's me. Of course, the wings swivel and hinge here. We'll talk about that more in combine mode. You have the front legs, which swivel at the front hips. One basically swivel there at the knee, and then one hinge there at the front ankle. So that's an extra bit of articulation than what we're used to. And then same for the rear ankle and knee, but the rear hip is on a ball peg. It'd be nice to have a little rocker here, but not the biggest deal in the world. And then the tail's on a hinge, and you do get the waist swivel that you need for transformation, which we'll go ahead and talk about. But before we do, there's one thing I want to show you. You can get these guys all in a seated pose. Come on. You know that's cute. Let's just say it. You know what I mean? Let's just get it out in the open. We'll be honest about it. There they are with tiger tracks. So let's transform this guy. Tail up. Straighten out the legs. You want to make these as straight as possible with the paws, dog paws, all the way down. You want to you can just bring these up. They're going to fit around here in a second. You got to turn this waist sideways so that you can manipulate the shoulders. Oof, sorry, Robert. Good grief. So we can turn the shoulders all the way around. And I've noticed that it's better to just manipulate each one on the side with the tail, because the belt gets jammed up with the other one. So we'll do that over here as well. And then we'll move this back. We'll move the head around, the paws collapse down, and the head, obviously, the jaw comes down, and these two bits come out. So let's combine. Down, down, ball peg, snap in. A tight connection there to get on and off, by the way. And there. We'll get him cleaned up. We'll take a look at him. He's pretty awesome. But let's talk about him. So the head hinge swivel. So the hinge is there, as we looked at before, and then the swivel is there. Face flops down so you can get a little bit of up on the face and he can look kind of further up. You can pull it off. It's kind of a cheat, but it works. Forced perspective, I think, is most apt. And then he can look not really down so much without folding the face back into the head of the lion. Swivel works fine. Detailings wise, paint wise, we have the red. This is black plastic. The yellow is done. And then we have the white. And then on the face itself, the silver is done, the blue is done, the yellow is done, the red is done. So it's painted really to the nines. Really well done. Very sharp. Now, waist swivel, intact. So that works. Nicely done. We have the wings on the back, which are on, the swivel here, and then we have a hinge here and a hinge at the bottom. Now you do have these units there that kind of get in the way, but if you fold these up and over, that'll get these kind of straight up, and then at least you always have that look. Look, honestly, this works fine. It's not a big deal. But me personally, I kind of like them a little bit more out to the side. So that's kind of a bummer for me, but that's, I guess, a little bit more subjective. I think that most people would prefer the idea of being able to manipulate them. Pretty cool, though. These guys keep falling out. All right, so for the shoulder, ball peg into a hinge. So you get the ball peg for the swivel and a little bit of a come on, man. A little bit of the butterfly joint forward and back. Then you get the swivel and then it hinges up to just shy of 90 degrees. Just shy of 90 degrees. Elbows on a single hinge, and we have the bicep swivel. So that all works fine. And then we have the wrist, which swivel on ball pegs, and then the hand basically is on the same hinge in the lion's mouth. No real issue. That looks really good too. There's a lot of love in this. The hips, ball pegs, T-jointed. Unfortunately, you still only get them out to here. It's a design issue with Voltron that if you're trying to keep the sculpt super clean, you're always going to lose outward movement on the hips. Just a bummer. Forward and back though, full Monty. No issues there. Thigh swivel, single jointed knee that gets you, I'd say 90 degrees. I say let's give it to him. And then ankle tilt down on the ball peg, up on the ball peg, and then the rocker. So all in all, a pretty good unit. I know we talked about most of the paint with the lion, so there's no real need to retread that. I just wanted to make sure I got that face because that's pretty beautiful. And then the chest, which you don't really see too much in lion mode, but yeah, it's really, look, as far as these little, super deformed units go, this one's a cut above. Final thoughts wise, it's an awesome piece. We got metallic paint, we have tons of paint throughout, we have glossy paint, we have die cast parts, we have great sculpt, we have a strong presence, we have a lot of fun factor here. It pretty much works across the board, especially if you're a hardcore Voltron fan. I can't recommend it enough. Now I know this is a bit older, so chances are you probably already have this if you are a hardcore Voltron fan, but this time of year, we always get a little slow around the Transformer world, so I figured it was a decent enough piece to take a look at, and I know a lot of Transformer fans are also Voltron fans. My criticisms are I wish it could hold the shield better. I wish it came with little weapons for all the lions to hold in their mouths in lion mode, and honestly, that's probably it for something like this. I think it does pretty much everything you'd want it to do. So, shout out to Robert D for letting me take a look at this stuff, man. Shout out to Robert D for letting me take a look at tons of stuff throughout the year. And Robert D and I have a very strange relationship, and we have a lot of banter, and he's on a podcast with me called Shattercast Uncut. If you'd like to hear us kind of go at each other's throats from time to time, in a loving way, for an adult audience, check out Shattercast Uncut on YouTube and give him a sub. Give him a sub sandwich, you know what I mean? It's a really cool piece. Thanks for letting me take a look at it, and thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.